Guys, Cdew here, and today I'm very excited to release my first video of a new YouTube series I'm starting called Cdews and Cdon'ts. The goal of this series is to be, an instructional YouTube series that's going to help guide players to become better in not only just arena, but every aspect of their gameplay. It's going to be mainly focused around that arena, but in general, I'm just trying to improve the overall player base based on some tips and tricks that I've learned over the last 12 to 13 years. I picked up quite a few tricks, and I'm trying to condense them down into a much smaller size. It may have been something that I've learned over years and years, but I'm trying to just get all the information out to you guys in a way that you can learn it as quickly as possible. Keep in mind, this first video is probably very trivial to some of you guys. A lot of people know how to move effectively, but I remember when I was playing in vanilla, the steps I took to actually learn how to move efficiently took me a lot longer than you would have expected. So a lot of players out there, I'm sure, can really use this information. To move efficiently, you need to know how to use the keyboard and the mouse. A lot of people may think it's just based around the keyboard. So I hope you guys enjoy this video here today. If you guys have any comments or feedback that you'd like to give, not only on the video or maybe some videos you'd like to see in the future to continue this series, feel free to leave those comments below. And let's go ahead and get this party started. In today's video, we're going to be using a keyboard cam. That way you guys can see exactly the way I'm moving, as well as the way I'm going to be using my mouse. So first off, I'd like to talk to you guys about why I use Q and E to strafe. A lot of people are kind of, on the fence about using A and D, which is fairly more common as opposed to Q and E. And first off, I would like to say that Q and E was the default key binding when I played an original vanilla WoW. So I moved with Q and E originally with the way to strafe, and I keyboard turned with AS and D, which is currently unkeybound. So as you can see, I have to use the arrow keys here. But one of the main reasons I think using Q and E is really important for movement as opposed to A and D, and this is probably going to be a really, really bad habit for you to break if you already use A and D, and that's completely okay. But if you're one of the newer players and you're wondering if you should move with Q and E as opposed to A and D and S as well, I think the main reason that I would say is AS and D being three keybinds that are, one after another. It's really, really good for Arena 1, 2, 3 binds, and I think that's something that some people struggle with as they kind of get further along in WoW. Because generally you want to start off with key binding, the basic stuff, then you want to get into Arena 1, 2, 3. And having three key binds that are already kind of set for Arena 1, 2, 3 are really, really good. So I'm not going to talk too much about key bindings today, but I want to let you know why I thought Q and E was a better default bind to strafe with as opposed to A and D. So once you get into the part where you're going to be using Arena 1, 2, 3, having ASD for Arena 1, 2, 3 target, maybe Shift ASD for Arena 1, 2, 3 CC or interrupt, and maybe Alt ASD or Control ASD for some of those other binds. Having all three of those one after another is really, really good. You could have Focus Arena 1, 2, 3, you could have Target Arena 1, 2, 3, Interrupt Arena 1, 2, 3, CC Arena 1, 2, 3, and that's going to be something that's going to help you advance your gameplay further on. So if you have the option to use Q and E as opposed to A and D, I would definitely recommend using with Q and E. So before we get started, once again, just one of the basic things I want to talk about is disabling the always adjust camera. This is one of the things that I had on originally when I was playing WoW, and I kind of felt like as I further progressed, you could see the camera always turning with me. It kind of hindered me in some ways. Sometimes I like to see what's going on around me, and I think it's really important in certain scenarios that we'll touch up on later. So if it's something that you guys really, really like and you don't want to take it off, that's absolutely fine, but it's something that I would go ahead and recommend. So right now, the first thing that you should also do is you got to take off the training wheels. If you still have AS and D keybound to keyboard turn and back pedal, it's time to just take off the training wheels, unbind it, and that's going to be the best way that you unlearn, because it's really hard to get out of that habit. You guys might look at me like I've never did anything like that before, but I've keyboard turned in the past, I've back pedaled in the past, and the best way for you to get out of that habit is to go ahead and just cut it out. Unbind it. That way, if you're in the middle of a game or you're in the middle of PvE and you're trying to keyboard turn, it literally does not allow you to move. And I know you guys might think it's really difficult to move without keyboard turning. And like I said, I've been there before, but this video is going to be all about helping you move super efficiently. You're going to be moving with the strafe button. So you can see strafing. It's just Q and E, back and forth, back and forth. But if you want to go to the right like this or to the left like that, and you're wondering how are you going to do that without the original keyboard turn binds, it's going to be all based around your right click. So one thing that people may not recognize is the right click and the left click in WoW are actually really, really important for moving. And what I'd like to show you right now is with just a simple right click, you can move in any direction. So all I'm holding down right now is that right click. You can move in any direction you want. I could be holding down just the simple W key. I could go in any direction I want. I kind of let go there, excuse me. So that's going to be your main default way to move. It's going to allow you to get rid of that keyboard turning. It's going to allow you to move way more effectively. So if I want to move to the right, it's just that simple. Just like that, just like that, just like that, as opposed to that and move. That and move. You can see how much more effective it's going to be. It's going to allow you to move more fluidly. And you should be able to potentially move out of mechanics faster. If you're a PvEer, you should be able to maneuver around pillars quite easier. Right now, all I'm doing is holding down a strafe button with the right click and just gradually turning my mouse. This is how, you know, the high-end players, this is what's called pillar hugging, move effectively in arena. If you're trying to LOS, it's very simple. You're just strafing while moving in that camera in the direction that you want to go, just kind of moving it to the left. Here you'll see me move it to the right with the other strafe on. And that's going to allow you to just move really, really effectively. You can also maneuver around opponents. You know, if this is your target and someone's casting, you can run around them. Potentially, if it's a Chaos Bolt, you can get behind them and stop them from, you know, finish that cast if it's a directional faced ability. And this is definitely really effective in arena if you're a melee and you're trying to get away from someone. You know, you never want to give them your back. So strafing always allows you to have them towards the front of your body. So if you give them the back, you can't dodge, you can't parry. It's going to allow you to take additional damage. If you're a rogue and you're trying to move around and you ever give away the frontal advantage, you're just going to get absolutely destroyed, especially with evasion up. So if you're ever wondering why you get kind of chopped through evasion sometimes as a melee DPS, it could be because you're not strafing properly, you're not using that left click properly. Another thing that I want to talk about a little bit here is some people may not know this, but this is kind of like subconscious. If you ever see players jump a lot, sometimes it could be out of habit. I probably jump quite a bit out of habit, but sometimes it's just the way you move, and this is like a subconscious thing that probably the higher rated players do. So if you watch my fingers closely here, if you see the button I use to press Riptide is also the button that I use to walk forward. So obviously if I want to Riptide, I'm not going to stop moving in order to, you know, use that ability. If I'm trying to heal someone over here and he's kind of running forward, I'm not going to stop every single time I want to Riptide. So what you'll see players do is they'll jump to continue that movement while taking their finger off the movement button to constantly keep moving. So that's kind of something that you're going to do subconsciously once you get the idea of it. If you ever find yourself in situations where it's like, wow, you know, I really want to press 4, but I also move with that button on E, it's just going to be the same thing. You're jumping in the air to continue that constant move while you're on global, or, you know, while you're taking your finger off that button. So I got to press 4, I jump, I press 4, I continue the movement. This is something that you're going to see a lot at high rated arenas. If you ever wonder why people are jumping all the time, that's probably one of the reasons why. You could also continue to move with the 2 mouse buttons. If you press both mouse buttons simultaneously, no hands on the keyboard, you're going to continue to move. And you can use your mouse to direct where you want to go if you didn't know that. But the only reason that doesn't work as well as the jumping sometimes is if you need to strafe, it's going to be hard to like change the direction that you're moving, if that makes sense. So like if you want to move forward and you want to press Riptide, that's completely fine. But if you need to strafe really quick, I don't know if you're maybe trying to jump out of a Fel Lord or something, sometimes it's just easier to jump. So jumping while taking your finger off the movement key is going to continue to moving, which is, you know, it's pretty solid. And another thing that I want to show you guys is sometimes when I'm kiting on Shaman, you know, I leap forward. You see me constantly look back. Sometimes you need to see where the melee's at. So if I am, you know, maybe stuck in the middle of the map and I'm trying to get myself to a pillar and I'm going to go ahead and use Gust of Wind, it's kind of important to me to see like where melee are at. So let's just say I Gust of Wind right here. I need to see how close people are to getting to me. If when I get around this corner, if I'm actually going to be able to, you know, free cast immediately, or did a warrior leap and he's already going to be on my back, as opposed to me kind of going like this and then going for the cast in an awkward angle. You know, warrior leaps over here, he gets an interrupt on me. A demon hunter fell rushes, he gets an interrupt on me. Some things like that. So another thing I want to show you is I showed you with the right click, you can turn, you can move. with the left click, you can turn your camera. You can see anywhere around you, and this is going to be one of the advantages of turning off that always adjust. You can see exactly what's going on behind you. You don't have to worry about the camera constantly refocusing. And with a simple right click, let's just say, you know, you have your camera faced over here. You moved with the left click, you turn the camera around. With a simple right click, you're going to immediately adjust to that position. So you can turn really easily. Let's just say, you know, I don't like what I see. I want to turn around. You know, maybe they got CC'd. You know, maybe my DPS got stunned, something like that. With immediate right click while holding down that left click, you're going to instantly flip your character around, which could be really good for sharp turns and things of that nature. Alright, that is going to conclude our first video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is going to be hopefully a very successful YouTube series. Once again, if you guys have any comments on the video or any feedback that you'd like to give, make sure you leave it in the chat. If you guys have anything that you want to see, I'm going to try and do these videos as often as possible, but I have a very busy schedule with all the tournaments and stuff, so I'm going to try and hopefully get these out once every week. You know, don't hold me to it exactly. I'm going to do the best I can, but anything that you guys want to see or any ideas that you guys have for me, feel free to do it, because, you know, I have a few ideas in my head, but I'm not really sure how much information I can give to you guys on all the ideas I have. So, you know, feel free to leave me some feedback. I'll bounce my ideas off you guys. We can talk about it a little bit on stream. But once again, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing this with you guys. So once again, man, thank you guys so much. Have a good one.